Hello, my friends. Today, I'm about to take you on a tour of the George Washington Masonic National Memorial from a Mason. Join me for the secrets, because you're entering the coolest life. So, where is this place anyway? Well, according to what they have here online, which I'm staring at right now, it says George Washington Masonic National Memorial is a Masonic building and memorial located in Alexandria, Virginia. So it's just due southeast, I guess you would say, of D.C. It is dedicated to the memory of George Washington, the first president of the United States, and a Mason. The tower is fashioned after the ancient lighthouse of Alexandria from Egypt. So it's pretty interesting. So this particular structure, as you see here, is 333 feet tall. Threes are kind of symbolic in masonry. So that's not by chance that it's 333 feet tall. It sits atop the Shooter's Hill at 110 Callahan Drive. Construction began in 1922. The building was dedicated in 1932, so it took them 10 years to finally totally erect the facility. The interior was completed in about 1970. In July 1915, it was designated a National Historic Landmark for its architecture and one of the largest scale private memorials to honor Washington. So there's a key there. This is a private memorial. This is not owned by. As you walk in the building, you are greeted by this massive statue of George Washington. He is larger than life. Now, as a Mason, I will tell you that if you'll notice right here on his apron, look real close, you'll see that the sides are curved. It's not a square apron. The one that I wear is a square apron. Back then, I don't know if it was maybe since he was in Virginia when he was a Mason or what it was, but they had some curves to the corners of their aprons. They didn't square them. So that's definitely something significantly different, that if you're a Mason, when you walk in there, you immediately recognize, hey, that's not like ours. Or you might say, hey, that's just like ours, because some states would have that. You might see that in other states. I haven't seen any as of yet. I know even the ones out in Hawaii are just like my apron. They're square. But also, I believe once you walk in there to the left is this large bust of George Washington. You can see with my daughter standing there next to it, the difference in size. She is about 5'2", so it's a pretty good sized bust there. There are lots of things to see in different cubby holes around the building. One of the things is, as you can see here, there's a likeness of George Washington in full regalia. Some states, as you will notice, he's got his jacket outside of the apron. In some states, they prefer you to wear the apron outside of the jacket. You're expected to button your jacket, especially in the state of Georgia. You button your jacket, you're going to put the apron on outside of your jacket. Why is that? I don't know. That's just tradition and history. That's just what we do. This is another item here. Looks like it's an apron with pretty ornate items on it. This particular picture, I've seen this in lots of lodges, but it'll be a tapestry. So it'll be hung on the wall, not framed like this is. You can see the two columns. And if you watched any of my other videos, you've noticed that we have the two columns with the celestial globe and the terrestrial globe on it. And also we talk about the steps. Some lodges have got the checkerboard pattern. I know Mount Hermon Lodge in Columbus, Georgia definitely has a checkerboard pattern. This looks like a little ornate watch. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of neat. Here is another bust of George. And here is a nice photo of George Washington with his horse. I don't know too much about it, but I can tell you this: it was a huge painting. It's probably about 5 feet tall. The painting itself is. Now, on the outside of one of the doors, this is actually a door knocker. You could actually grab onto the bottom of the gavel there and pick it up and turn loose, and it would knock. Typically, if you want to knock on a door, you'll just grab it and knock, knock with the door. But right there where the wrist is would swivel out. So You'll see that in a lot of Masonic lodges. Some will have those, some won't. Some will look like a square and compasses, and that's just what it is. Nothing, no secrets there. It's just some of the symbolisms that we have. In some of the other, as you walk around the building, they've got different rooms, and here's some of the items in the rooms. These are some wood carvings of the columns. Here's an old set of spurs, Santa Ana spurs. So, pretty interesting. So now this is a picture of a Masonic room. This is supposed to be an exact replica of the room that George Washington sat in. I believe he was a past master in his particular lodge, but you can see some of the same things that you would see in most lodges. Although all the way to the left there's a display, you wouldn't see that in most lodges, but definitely the chairs that go around the side. There's a chair in the corner. You can see the chair to the left there of the U.S. flag. That was where their treasurer would sit. And you can see he's got a column, and the column isn't directly in front of him. In a lot of Georgia lodges, you'll find that column will be directly in front of most lodges, or something to hit your gavel on or set something down on would be right there in front. Other lodges, and especially in other states, will have that off to the right. Rarely, rarely, rarely would you ever see that off to the left. The only time you would ever see that off to the left, and I'm saying that as if you were sitting in the chair on your left, is if possibly the master who is presiding over the lodge is left-handed. That would be about the only time that you would see that column over there to the left. Let's see what else I can tell you about this. You can see the 3 burning tapers. I say 3 burning tapers, they're really not even on. These may be, which is around the altar there in the center is 3, there's not 4. That's Masonic symbolism. You can find all that stuff online. I am not at liberty to divulge that at this time. But there are symbolisms there, and even the Washington D.C. lodge that I went to had the 3 burning lights, but they were all 3 together, and they were off to the right of the altar. Don't know why that was. And you can also see around the altar itself. That particular altar is cylindrical, or it is a short column, and the nice tapestry that's around it that's got working tools and other symbolisms on it. Real nice. Let's see what else I see here. Over to the right of the big chair, if you keep on going, what you'll see right there on the wall, that is the thermostat, what they had back in the 1800s. That's what they use, electric thermostat. Okay, it's not something that they used way back then, but that's what that is there. But right down there below that thermostat, you would see this chair where the secretary would sit. And that's pretty common. And you'll see, if you look real closely at that, you'll see there's a feather, a quill stuck in the top there. That's how you know that's the secretary. The secretary is the only one that's supposed to be doing the writing. No one else is supposed to write in lodge. Why? You just don't. You just don't. You don't go in lodge with a pen and paper. It doesn't happen. You don't get handed an agenda when you walk in the door. No, you just don't. It's one of their secrets and one of the things that they do. That's one thing you just don't do. You don't take any notes. You don't write this stuff down. Only the secretary, and the secretary is typically a past master in that lodge. I've met very few that weren't. In fact, I can't even think of one that was not a past master in a lodge. That is the secretary. So they know how things go. They know the flow of everything. They've been through the other chairs, or they've been other officers within a lodge. And you'll see over there to the right, you'll see there's also a stone and a column there to the large chair to the right. That, of course, is where the junior warden will sit. If you check out some of the other videos I've got on Masonic lodges, a peek inside, you'll see some of the same type of symbolisms. I will say this, very nice lodge room. I had heard that they don't actually have lodge in there. As a matter of fact, that particular chair in the back is supposed to be a chair that George Washington actually sat in, which is why there's plexiglass around it. So they don't want anybody touching it, sitting in it, or anything else. It's really old, very brittle looking leather is what it is. What else we got here? There's a stove, probably worth a lot of money. It's probably very heavy. bottom looks pretty heavy, but the stove there, probably something that you might have used in a lodge or out of a lodge. You can um, get in an elevator and go up to the other floors. There are several other floors. I don't remember if there was 3 or 4 other floors, but you could actually take an elevator all the way to the. I think you could take it to the top. It seems like they said you could take it to where you have 3 flights of stairs and you can walk up, but only certain time periods do they ever allow that. Certain visitors, so that's not even something you can consider when you're going there as a visitor. Um, you know what? I think it cost us $6 to get in, or it might have been free. I don't recall. But up on those floors, this particular room, as you can see here, has got small cubby holes that are broken down, and they represent different organizations within Masonry. So you can see some of those. Um, this one with the 3 above it, okay, I recognize that as to be the commandery room. I know that because I'm in the commandery. As a matter of fact, I'm commander of St. Aldemar, commandery number 3 here in Columbus, Georgia. But you have to be a member of chapter council, and I've been the high priest and the illustrious master, each of those. But that I recognize that immediately as the York Rite section of this room. And I say that this room because there's actually another room I'm going to show you here in just a minute that's got some of those other got a little more detail as far as York Rite goes. Now this I found it pretty interesting. This has got a breakdown, you can find this online too, of all the different types of organizations that are within Masonry. They are social orders. Ones you may recognize right there in the upper right hand corner is the Shriners, or some people might recognize Tall Cedars or Grotto. There's not much grotto. I haven't heard of a grotto in Georgia specifically, but there may be. And I don't think Tall Cedars is here anymore either. There used to be a Tall Cedars chapter here. I know a couple members used to be part of Tall Cedars. But Shriners is definitely strong in the state, strong nationwide. They still do shrine circuses. Now, over there to the left, where it says women's orders, you see one where it says Eastern Star. Eastern Star used to be specifically for women. And then they have opened it up to any, and you know, let me say this, Eastern Star used to be for women, and you had to be married to a Mason. Your father was a Mason, your brother was a Mason, your uncle, you had to be related to a Mason in order to be a member of Eastern Star. Not so much anymore. Also, they'll accept males. However, I believe in Eastern Star, the Grand Worthy Matron, which matron is for a lady, or the Grand Worthy Patron, which would be a guy. Grand Worthy Matron is still the number one in charge. Okay, so a guy can't be the number person in charge. There's also Order of the Amaranth and the Right Shrine of Jerusalem. I'm also a member. If you look over there to the right, about 2 to 3 o'clock, you'll see Scottish Rite. Scottish Rite's alive and well. I've got a video on that. You should check out my video on Scottish Rite. You see some other orders for the youth. Order of the Demolay, which are for boys, as it says, Rainbow for girls, and also Job's daughter. But they're not. Rainbow and Demolay, especially in the state of Georgia, are very active. Not so much Job's daughter. If you go down to the bottom one, National Sojourners, professional clubs. They have National Sojourners here in town. I'm not a member of National Sojourners. They used to have to be military in order to be a member of that, but not so much anymore. Invitation orders, Red Cross of Constantine, Royal Order of Scotland, and Allied Masonic Degrees, or AMD. I'm a member of the Red Cross of Constantine. We get together. Tuxedos are a must for that meeting. Why? Because they are. and they got specific colors that you wear, a sash and everything when you go to that meeting. We only have it once a quarter, I believe. Happens on, I don't know, the 5th Tuesday of the month or something like that. It falls where it's basically once a quarter. They all have their own. Each organization has their own specific charities. Shriners, obviously, Shriners Hospitals. Scottish Rite has Scottish Rite Hospitals. Also, they have another one that they help organizations with children with speech problems. So that's their primary charity that they go for. York Rite Sovereign College as you keep going around to the left, which is about 7 and 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, 8 and 9 o'clock. And York Rite Freemasonry, which is, we'll show you a little bit more about that, which is the Cryptic Masons, the Royal Arch Masons, and the Knights Templar. That's that. Kind of went off a little bit too much of a tangent on those. It's a little more about Masonry, a little less about what this monument's all about. But bear with me. Again, you keep going around, you see other things to look at here. This particular one of George Washington, you can see he's wearing the same apron. It's a lot like the one in the other room, the big one, but not quite so big. I think this was done in bronze. But everywhere you look, there's something really nice to look at. Then you go up in the elevator, you go up to the next level. Now, I wanted to say one thing. Before you go up to the next level, when I talked about those cubby holes, each one of those cubby holes had one of them had Shriners. One of them was Scottish Rite. So all that big dial that we were just looking at, there was a cubby hole representing each one of those organizations. So there was a bunch of them. There was like 16 in there. So it's pretty neat. But if you don't know anything about Masonry, it's kind of boring. It's like, yeah, whatever. What is this stuff? Until you do some deep diving. So if you are a Mason, you definitely 100% need to go here. If you do anything else in DC, you need to go here. This is the Knights Templar. I did a video on the Knights Templar several months ago, and it shows, you see our flag, which is much like this. You always recognize Knights Templar because it's got the crown and the cross through it. It's the only organization that I know of that you must be a Christian in order to be involved. All the other organizations within Masonry, you have to believe in a higher power, but not necessarily a Christian. So that's something specific to Knights Templar. A knight riding a horse, and they've got a full-fledged knight outfit here. And once you get up, you can really see DC, and you can see the water there I was talking about. I guess maybe it is about a mile from there, but it's a really nice view from there. And that's looking down out the front doors where I had my first picture taken. When I was showing you, it was looking behind me. I was actually standing really close to this. You can see it's really, really nice. Really hard to miss. Here's some things. There's a revolver. Looks like a book there and a sword. You can check out some of these others here. You might want to stop and look at that. And some other rooms that have even more items, coins, and you name it. They've got something with a Washington Memorial of some sort. So you can come in, you can schedule. They've also got a large room. It was downstairs. So as you come in the building, you kind of go downstairs, but it's a very large room. They'll have different events there. They rent the space out for weddings. And I hope you enjoyed this walk through the George Washington Masonic National Memorial in Alexandria, Virginia. We had a really good time there. Can't wait to go back. Anytime you go to a memorial like this, they do tend to update things. They'll have a video room or that sort of thing. So by all means, like and subscribe to this video. See some other Masonic videos that I have. And if you ever get a chance to go down to this one here, be sure to check it out. It's well worth the trip if you're up there in DC. You know, spend a day. It's actually not going to take you a day, but if you go to his one of his homes that he's got real close on the Potomac, you could spend a day between the two of them, and it's only 12 miles outside of DC, so it's not far at all. I think it's 12 miles, something like that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be bringing you some more videos. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit that little bell so you'll get a message whenever I kick out my next video. You are now leaving the coolest life. People will have different things, like they will have, and you wear your apron to the outside, just a little bit. At this building, actually, when I was in there, they were having some sort of celebration. It was like some people were